Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Coming off this weekend, painful loss at home to TCU. Texas sitting at 6-4, heading into Kansas this week. It's also 6-4. And just want to share some thoughts with y'all. So I'm gonna get right to it. This 2022 Texas football season, in my opinion, these are just my thoughts, my views. This 2022 Texas football season has been a disappointment for me. This has been a disappointment, and I understand a lot of folks picked around that 8-4, 9-3 range. I was one of the 9-3 folks. Some folks were a little higher, some folks were a little lower, but in our fan base, we continue to move the goalpost on where expectations were and the energy that was there before the season, the energy that has been there throughout the season to now just to cope with things instead of embracing reality. And it's time to embrace reality as Texas fans and understand what this present situation is right now. And when I say that this season has been a disappointment, please understand that this season, while disappointing, assuming they win their next two games and they finish 8-4, it's not necessarily a failure. Last year, I think we all agree, was a failure of a season going 5-7, not going to a bowl game, and having a full-on rebuild conversation, which is underway. But this has still been a disappointment. Even if you picked 8-4, I've always said throughout Twitter Spaces before the season, throughout everything I've done, if you want to tell me this team is going 8-4, if you want to tell me this team is going 9-3, cool. What is the context? How did the games look? What happened? How did we get to that outcome? That matters. And now that we've seen games play out, now that we've seen trends from last season come into this season, I am disappointed with where we're at currently at 6-4. And even if on the high end they go 8-4, this regular season is a disappointment for me. Now, that is not to say that we haven't made strides and progress in certain areas. Defensively, absolutely, there is so much to be said about PK in year two and what he's shown really everywhere he's been a defensive coordinator, the uptick in year two. Yes, Gary Patterson is a big part of that, but this is Pete Kwiatkowski's defense. He is the defensive coordinator. He is the defensive play caller. It is he and if you, I mean, Terry Joseph is actually the one with the label of passing game coordinator. So there's a lot of names that should be mentioned and deserve credit, but at a level higher than any of us expected before the season started. Go look at the defensive metrics. Horn Sports tweeted that today in terms of the year-over-year improvement from 2021 to 2022 with this defense. It has been a big time improvement. This is now, I think, in scoring defense, they're in the top 25. Okay, so defensively, we are well ahead of schedule. They have played well beyond expectations. That's what makes this season a disappointment. Because when everybody was picking 8-4, 9-3, what did we say? We said, "Oh, if the defense can just be average, if the defense can just be slightly below average, if we can just be top 75, we can just be top 65." Well, what if I told you that we would have a game against an opponent that was ranked top 4 in the country, averaging 44 points a game, and we would hold them to 17 at home, and we would have 5 sacks, countless pressures, 14 tackles for loss, a defensive touchdown, and a blocked field goal. And I told you we'd lose that game because our offense couldn't score a touchdown. That's why context is important. And we can't just blindly accept results. Here's the bigger picture from a recruiting standpoint, from those our rivals, the people we go up against for talent. Texas A&M is 3-7 right now. They are not going to a bowl. This was an opportunity for Texas to seize momentum and take all advantages in the state and have that special season. There's nothing stopping you from being ahead of schedule. OU is 5-5. You beat them 49-0. And yet we're one game better in the standings than OU. And when a team like OU in your conference who's dominated the Big 12 is down, that's when it's time to be ahead of schedule, i.e., TCU, no excuses, Sonny Dykes, year one, 10-0, playing a quarterback he didn't even pick at the beginning of the season, pick the other guy. So you guys want to hit me with, we're young, we're this, we're that. Guys, it's week 10, week 11. Guys have been playing. And if we want to use the we're young excuse, who's young? Kelvin Banks, one of my best players. Jatavian Sanders, one of my best players. The offensive line, who's played well as a group. Who's young? Xavier Worthy in year two. He's Xavier Worthy. I've defended Quinn Ewers on this channel, and I was told that Sark is supposed to be a quarterback developer and whisperer, and yet I've seen nothing but regression at that position this season. These are just the facts. And I'm not saying I'm losing hope in terms of, oh, what Quinn can be and all this type of things. We know what the talent is. We know what he has shown. But when we start talking about, oh, well, we can't win because, oh, he's a freshman, he's inexperienced, he's this and that. Well, they ain't saying that about Drake May at North Carolina. They ain't say that about Caleb Williams last year. We've seen freshmen cook at quarterback every year. You talented, you talented. You got it, you got it. There's so this poor play and this regression, because Quinn's not even playing at the level he was a month ago. And the offense is not functioning at the level it was a month ago. That's not all on Quinn. I have questions about Steve Sarkisian and what he's doing to remediate this issue. Because we are now sitting, as I'm recording this video, 6 quarters where we have not scored an offensive touchdown. It has been well documented our issues in the second half of football games and how tragic that's been. I'm sitting here. I have a Last Stand hat sponsorship. Shout out to Last Stand Hats. LastStandHats.com/Fanatic Perspective. Use Fanatic 10% off at checkout. I'm wearing an all gas, no brakes hat. I look like a fool saying we were going to go all gas, no brakes on Texas Christian University when we come out there. And it's not, guys, it's not struggles because, oh, we're young and we're freshmen and all this type of stuff. We look like we don't even practice right now in terms of some of the stuff we're running. We look like we are not in even alignment with what we're trying to do. There has been a clear regression offensively. I don't want to hear about, oh, well, we can't do. You should never, ever say we can't score or we shouldn't be one of the top offenses when we have Bijan Robinson, who we all agree is the best running back in the country, one of the best offensive weapons in college football. You have Roshan Johnson, who's one of the best backs in the country. You have Xavier Worthy, who's supposed to be one of the best receivers in the country. You have Jatavian Sanders, who's up for the Mackey Award, one of the best tight ends. You have Jaleel Billingsley, who's played in championship games at tight end. You have Kelvin Banks on the line. You have Christian Jones, who's playing well at right tackle. There are no excuses. And if there was ever a setup for any quarterback to succeed and a coach to succeed, it's all of these pieces, all these weapons. You have a veteran slot receiver in Jordan Whittington. You have a hot defense who's giving you everything they can. Your special teams are good. Why aren't you winning football games consistently? What is the excuse? 6-4, when people around you are down, that's when you need to strike. Especially if you want to be considered a true big time blue blood program. Look, this frustration is out of losing. This frustration is out of love for the team. I am not saying that, again, individual players on this team have made strides. Position groups on this team have made strides. We are seeing progress in certain areas, especially on the defense. But we are lying to ourselves if we don't admit that we've taken a step back offensively, and no one said that or expected that coming into this season. And if the excuse that people want to make is that we don't have experience at quarterback, then damn it, you should have hit the portal and got a transfer quarterback like Brian Kelly did and like Lincoln Riley did. If that's going to be the excuse, if we can't coach somebody up, we shouldn't have wasted our time developing Nebraska's quarterback last season and should have played Hudson Card last season. If these are the excuses we want to make, because I know the way Quinn Ewers was throwing the football at the beginning of the season, and I know the way he's throwing the football now, and it ain't the same two things. So I need to know what is going on if we have all of these smart offensive people in the room. Texas is too good. They have too much firepower to be sitting up here and us being content at 6-4 and maybe 8-4 and not getting to a conference championship with all of the factors that we have seen this season. And Sark's peers in the coaching community that are doing more with less. I said it. They're doing more with less, Texas fans. We have to admit that. I understand there's a process, but the last thing I will say before ending this video is you guys out there that may say, hey, Steve, you need to chill, you need to relax. We expected to be here. Okay. College football is changing rapidly behind the scenes. This transfer portal is real. You do not have the time you think you do. You do not have the time you think you do. Because next year, guess what's happening with this defense? A lot of guys are going to the NFL. A lot of guys that played really well. Next year's roster could look very, very different. So while you may say, "Oh, well, we got all this time to develop XYZ, and now XYZ is developed now, but now we got to wait." And now y'all gonna tell me, "Well, the defense is young next year. That's why we couldn't win the Big 12." When are we not? When are you ever not young in college football? At some point, you have to say, "You know what? We have an opportunity." And where I'm frustrated is not once but twice this season, Texas has had opportunities placed in front of them to set this program off and be ahead of schedule and achieve goals. It was their staff, Steve Sarkisian and their staff said their goal was Big 12 this season. So when we consider everything that is happening, you don't have the time you think you do. Even going 8-4, maybe 9 bowl games, you have an opportunity to take a chance to win the conference and build real momentum for your program. You can't wait. You have to do everything in your power each and every week to win football games. And when your area of expertise, Steve Sarkisian, is quarterbacks and offense, how can you guys that predicted us and said, hey, I'm cool with 8-4, be comfortable with losing football games because of bad quarterback play and bad offense? We got to call a spade and be honest and live in reality here with what we're seeing. I know what we see. And I know y'all see it too. And shout out to BUSR, BUSR.com/fanatic, the official sponsor, official sportsbook, official betting partner, Fanatic Perspective. Those of you who want to, put some bread on Texas, Kansas, and some of the other games this week, reliable betting partner, use that Sports 100 FP promo code up to $2,500 match within the first 24 hours of depositing. So, no, I'm just keeping it a buck today because this season, I'm gonna say it one more time. It's not a failure. It's not a failure. But to me, regardless of outcome at this point, this is a disappointment. Unless they can find a way to get into the Big 12 championship, which there's still an outside chance. But at this point, with what we've seen and what we were predicting, in my opinion, from my view, I'm disappointed with how this season has played out. But I am, we're always supporting the team and everything. I'm still excited for the strides we've made, the recruiting coming in. But the pressure has to be there for Sark to win games. That's his job. If Texas wants a seat at the big boy table, if we're not pissed off about going 8-4 or whatever, then we're not a big boy program. We're not a blue blood program, in my opinion. We shouldn't have those expectations then. Not with our kids are too good. We have too much to for this to be the product. No. You should never be playing at home and not score a touchdown. Not with those people on the field. I could see if you had injury bug this year that was so bad and so crippled. No, you even have a good backup quarterback that's played very well. You don't have excuses. Not on my watch. No, 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 no. Not when the young freshman offensive line been playing better than expected. If you told me we were going to struggle because of the O line, we can't use that. Told me we are going to struggle because of defense or special teams, can't use that. Let's be real with ourselves. We need to put some pressure on Sark. He needs to win some games. He's been a head coach too long. This isn't learn on the job. LSU, USC, they went out and got proven guys. They weren't doing no proof of concept stuff. Concept was proven at Notre Dame. The concept was proven at Oklahoma for those guys. I'm very serious. Very serious. Because if we don't have those expectations, then we can't claim who we are on Twitter and social media like that. We can't. Because they won't play that at other big schools. And we've seen that. Y'all let me know in the comments. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with what I got to say, but it is what it is. That's how I feel. But, that's the beauty of it. Let's have a discourse. Guys, I appreciate y'all. Horns always up. Peace.